My father's voice still echoes in the empty place he carved out of me. He never paused to ask what happened, never looked me in the eye, never wondered who had hurt me. He just stood there in the doorway with his jaw locked tight and his eyes burning with a rage he'd been itching to use on someone. When he shouted, "Get out! Get out of this house!" He didn't notice I wasn't crying. I was smiling. He thought he was punishing me, but he had no idea he'd just tipped the first domino. 15 years earlier, the spark was lit. I remember gripping the strap of my bag as I walked down that front path, his words still scorching the back of my mind. I remember the cold, the loneliness, but most of all, the sudden razor-sharp clarity. People like to say clarity arrives gently like a sunrise. Mine came like a blade. He didn't ask for the truth. He didn't want it. And the truth was simple. I hadn't betrayed him. He betrayed me the moment he chose shame over his own daughter. Before that day, I really thought he loved me. Maybe not perfectly, but enough. He taught me to ride a bike, patch a scraped knee, face the world without fear. Or so I believed. Now I can see the cracks, the little jabs, the way he tensed when I disagreed. The loyalty he demanded but never gave. I used to hope he'd stand with me in the darkest moment of my life. Instead, he pushed me straight into it. Years later, after I rebuilt myself from nothing, I finally learned the truth. He never cared enough to ask about the pregnancy. It wasn't something I chose. It was forced on me by a man he trusted, someone he laughed with, defended, invited to every holiday, someone I tried to speak up about. But he cut me off again, telling me not to cause trouble. He chose his pride. He chose his friend. He chose blindness. But I wasn't blind anymore. I didn't confront him or write to him or try to mend what he shattered. I put all my focus into my son, my miracle, my anchor, my fire. I raised him with a softness my father never had, teaching him strength without cruelty, courage without violence, justice without shouting. And I waited, not for revenge, but for the moment people like my father always bring upon themselves. The moment they come back needing something, validation, forgiveness, a clean conscience. I built a life so strong he couldn't ignore it, a thriving business, a home with tall windows and locked gates, and a reputation he couldn't smear no matter how many lies he told. Every move I made was intentional. I didn't reach out, but I made sure news of me found him. Every milestone, every success, every achievement my son reached, not as bragging, just quiet whispers passed through mutual acquaintances. Let him sit with the knowledge of the daughter he cast aside, and the grandson he erased with one choice. My son grew into a man with eyes as sharp as mine, but warmer, kinder. He didn't know the entire story, not yet, but he understood enough to know that some people lose the right to step into your home. And then, 15 years later, it happened. A knock at my door, hesitant, old. I saw them through the camera, my father, smaller now, fading into himself, and my mother behind him, clutching guilt like flowers she didn't know how to hand over. I didn't move, but my son did. When he opened the door, they froze because they weren't looking at me. They were looking at him, tall, steady, sharp-eyed, a living reminder of the truth they refused to hear. My father's mouth shook. Is your mother here?" he asked. My son didn't step aside. He just stared at him, jaw tight. "No," he said softly. "She's home. But you're not welcome." My father's face crumpled. And that's when I stepped into the doorway behind my son. I didn't need to say a word. He saw everything, all he lost, all I built, all he could never get back. His voice cracked. "Please, what have you done?" I smiled the same smile I wore 15 years earlier. "I protected my child," I said. "Something you never did." They left without another word. My son closed the door gently, like sealing a tomb. And for the first time, the weight lifted. It wasn't victory. It wasn't vengeance. It was freedom. People think revenge is about hurting someone back, but they're wrong. Real revenge is becoming everything they swore you'd never be, and knowing they no longer deserve a place at your table. I turned away from the door, breathing out the last ghost of the girl he tried to break. I didn't break. I rose.